Hey guys, it's Trey Volk here, and I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and I think we gotta have this talk. And this isn't like a new idea that's been brought up regarding NRS games, but I think it's a little different this time in the sense that what we're going to talk about has had enough time to be time tested to see that it's not a successful aspect of the games. And that is the Mortal Kombat combo breaker. In any implementation, right? Breakaway was obviously a pile of shit, but we're talking about any combo escaping mechanic whatsoever today or tonight, whenever you're watching this. Um, I believe, especially in Mortal Kombat 1, that in some ways the existence of a combo breaker almost entirely creates the game's current balance problems. And I believe if people will actually look and see, this is why in NRS games mix always dominates. So you would think a mechanic that is designed to get you out of a combo um, would help you against archetypes like that, right? But I want to just talk about this from like a logistical standpoint. I know those might be some scary words for the T1000 players out there, but let's really look at this, okay? Let's really dissect this. So I'm not gonna really. There's nothing I'm gonna demonstrate in gameplay really, because I'm just gonna talk. But um, so here's the thing. Um, the way to explain this is you gotta think about it this way. So, what is the trait, the foundational trait of a mix-up character in general? Well, it's that when they get in, they are likely on a literal percentage basis to get more hits, more openings, right? So think about it this way. Doesn't that mean that the combo breaker, by virtue, just only benefits the mix-up character? Because the mix-up character doesn't have to care as much about the combo breaker because he'll have an easier time getting a hit than anyone else. And then on top of that, they have more breakers than anybody else because they're gaining meter, because they're getting more openings. Um, I think that it is time for NRS to seriously consider retiring this mechanic, the entire concept of it altogether. Um, I think we've had, I don't even know, obviously breakers aren't MK9 onward. They existed even before then, MK versus DC, etc. But I think it's time that NRS admits that this concept, at least in the way they want to make their games, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work to the benefit of their games in any way whatsoever. And it doesn't even, like, people who are less serious, less hardcore, I am telling you, this impacts their gameplay experience online as well. They don't know it, right? Like, they couldn't articulate it, but it does. Um, so, this is the problem. And especially in MK1, this is a huge problem. Um, just watch tournament matches of this game, and you'll see that the situation I described is exactly what is happening. The reason that other archetypes in this game just cannot thrive at the highest level is because of the combo breaker in a lot of ways. Like, if a zoner is trying to zone and they're behind and they finally get a hit because they have to make a comeback against these mix-up characters that are also able to Turtle, if they want to, they have to power through a combo breaker, and then with their no mix whatsoever, they have to find another hit afterward. How in the world does this help anyone but the mix-up character? Um, like I'm telling you, man, you can look at this if you just watch the games play at the highest level. MKX, MK11, this game, it doesn't matter. Even MK9. MK9 is a bit of an exception, obviously, like you have Cabal and Kenshi, for example, right? But they're like really over the top in their respective games. But if you look at MKX onward, I think this problem is relatively obvious. Um, and I think it's time to admit that like they just need to give up this combo breaker mechanic. Yes, I know it's become kind of a trend of the series. It's a thing that the games are known for, but it's counterproductive to their game design in general. It really is. Like even in MK11, debatably the most honest quote-unquote NRS game, it was still the same thing. There were the characters that had the better offense were the ones who won because they could just steamroll through your breaker, right? They could just get you to use it, and then they could open you up. And everyone else, any other play style, was invalidated by this or heavily buffered against because it like their hits are less consequential, right? Because the priorities are elsewhere, right? Space control, turtling, etc. And by consequence of that, that means that they have to work so much harder if they're ever behind for any reason, right? And this also means that screen real estate is pointless in their games. It doesn't matter if a zoner is ahead in health in an NRS game, because, well, at least in an MK game, right? Let's ignore Injustice, because Injustice is a big exception to this, right? Just think about MK. A zoner with a life lead is still potentially losing. A mix-up character in an NRS game with a life lead is just always winning. And combo breakers, in my opinion, they just hurt every aspect of any other playstyle, any other archetype of character. They just do, man. I think it's time to give this up. I don't think it adds anything to the game. It's become clear, in my opinion, that there's no strategic depth that the breaker offers to the games either, because of what I described. It's just the mix-up character eats through your breaker, and everyone else is handicapped by the existence of the breaker. If they are behind in any way, or even if they have a small life lead. That's the thing. Like in this game, it's debatable if you're not one of the top tier mix-up characters. It is debatable if you even have a life lead, if you're not like 50% plus life lead, right? Having a 10 or 20% life lead in this game feels like nothing. It might as well not exist. And I think that, like, I've thought about this before, right? And, you know, a lot of people have argued just on principle. Obviously, most other fighting games, they either have a breaker that is extremely baitable and heavily punishable, or they just don't have one. And NRS is the only fighting game developer I could think of where they just have a breaker that it's just an absolute factor in the gameplay. So, I don't know, just a small rant I wanted to go on, but I think this is true. I think if you were to remove the breaker from MK1 entirely tomorrow, you would instantly see more character and cameo diversity in the game. Because hits would matter more for every character. And the hits from the mix-up characters would matter the same. I am telling you that value of a hit from a mix-up character in this game does not go up at all if there's no combo breaker. It only goes up for everyone else. So yeah, this is the thing I've thought about, but I want to know what you guys think. I really would like to hear some discussion. I don't get a lot of comments on my videos, but I have a lot of people that watch my videos and they hit me up in DMs on social media or whatever. But I would like to see comments too. I would like to see the discussion about this. But that's my take for the foreseeable future with NRS. I think it's time to get rid of the combo breaker. Just period. No ands, ifs, or buts. Just get rid of it. I think their games would just be flat out better for it, and they would be easier to balance, and they wouldn't suffer. MK would not suffer from this rush down elitism problem that they have. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Catch you later.